I'll put it on.
Okay.
Are we, do you turn on the, okay, I just wanna be sure. We gotta talk, sorry. Got 5 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order today, Monday, March 21st, 2022. Roll call, we have Selectman Howdy Goodwin, Eric Eaton, Mackenzie Jewett, Kevin Buck, myself Jamie Thurlow, Town Manager Jesse Dunbar, and Town Clerk Katie Dandran. Adoption of agenda, is there anything anyone would like to change on the agenda? Okay, next we have the approval of minutes. We have the minutes from March 7th first.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of Monday, March 7th, 2022.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from March 7th, 2022. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Now we have the minutes from March 14th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from Monday, March 14th, 2022.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the the minutes from March 14th, 2022. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, next we have warrants. We have one warrant again. Not used to this with a meeting every week. Warrant 90 for $10,257.41.
I'll make a motion to approve warrant 90.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve warrant 90. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, financial reports.
Alright, these reports are February 28th, which is 67% of the way through the fiscal year. In February, we collected just over $6,900 in property taxes, which is 95% of the budget for the year. It continues to outpace all recent years for collection at this point in the year. We also collected $22,963 in motor vehicle excise tax, resulting in total collections of 68.86% of what we budgeted. This is behind pace from last year, but ahead of pace for all other recent years. We received an additional $940 in February from MMA as a dividend from our workers' comp policy. And in the wharf fund, we received $500 in wharf use permits in February. And in the harbor fund, we received a $2,000 payment from Swans Island for their use of the ferry terminal float. Under expenses, the administration cost center is still running under budget at this point at 59%. We had some additional expenses of $641 in office supplies, $4,081 in dues for our 2022 Maine Municipal Association dues, $44.91 for the final payment of the FY21 audit, and an additional $1,821 in attorney's fees. And under town office repairs and maintenance, there was a $1,551 repair to the heating system for this room. In public works, it is also still under budget at this point in the fiscal year at 57%. We had $5,175 in part-time plow truck driver wages, $4,851 in gas and diesel, and just over $11,000 in road salt for the month of February. And under repairs, there was an additional expense of $39.90 for an auger replacement on truck 2, and $1,520 worth of the general supplies in the supplies line. Under the general ledger, we received an additional $12,448 in revenue sharing from the state in February, bringing total receipts for FY22 to $89,182, or approximately 104% of what was budgeted for the fiscal year. So we continue to expect that it would significantly exceed the anticipated revenue. And in the town equipment reserve, you will see the expense of $40,898 for the purchase of the Bobcat. And otherwise, there are no significant changes to the general reserve accounts.
I make a motion.
Sorry. No, thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, thanks. Make a motion to accept the July 2021 through February 2022 financial report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the July 2021 through February 2022 financial reports. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right, now we have regular business, Seal Cove Fishway. Michelle, you here to speak on behalf of that?
So So I shared a letter that was included in your packet just to give an update on where the project is at. So because it's been a little while since I was here. The kind of bad news was that although at the end of last summer, we were like totally lined up to have construction begin at the lower of the two Fishway locations. We had permits in place, including the local permit, we had all the funding. The heavy rains got in the way of getting that done. And it got to the situation where the contractor was ready to go. I mean, they'd actually put some gravel on site, staged it, and felt like they weren't sure that they could finish. They have a really specific work window for working in the stream, and so they didn't want to get started and not be able to get done. So we pulled on the project and decided to try to pick up on it as soon as we could in this next season. I've been nervous about it because the huge bottleneck for all the fishway restoration projects that are going on in towns around the state has been the availability of the contractors. And there's essentially like a few number of very specialized contractors and a lot of projects and a lot of funding coming in, federal and state funding, and so then all these projects are basically competing for the same group of contractors. Fortunately, the contractor that we were working with is ready to go, ready to put us on the schedule to resume the work here in Tremont. July 1st is basically when they can start again. They would like to consider taking on both phases, as we've described before, as two phases of the Fishway project, both dealing with the lower site where the former Silco Pond Dam was, but also the upper site where the current dam is and the current Fishway that's not really working. We are in much better position to consider doing that right now because some time has passed and we're actually within striking distance of having the funds necessary to take on both pieces of the project. It definitely would be an advantage in terms of the goals of the project to restoring the Alewife Run as quickly as possible. It's also financially a better situation because if the contractor only has to mobilize once and the engineer who's overseeing that contractor only mobilizes once, I think we're going to save at least $20,000 in construction and engineering oversight. So I would like to move ahead as quickly as possible with trying to pin down this contractor for that larger scope of the project. And that's what I'm really here. I want to make sure that I'm letting you know that before I go signing a contract. I suppose I can contract with them and somehow back out if it doesn't make sense and before I paid them for any work or something. But I wanted you to know that I'm having those conversations with them. I think it's an excellent opportunity. I can give a little bit of a budget update that I didn't include in the memo, but the scale of this project is about a $300,000 project when you look at both sites. The total construction budget is about $270,000 for both pieces. There's about $50,000 of engineering work, much of which has already been done and spent. Remember, first we did that feasibility study, then we had the plans drawn up actually for the upper site first. But the funders were like, the biologists were like, we want to see the lower site dealt with. We don't want you to just work at the dam and have a fish passage problem downstream of that. So then we had the plans drawn up for the lower site. So now we have completed design plans for both projects and the opportunity to move forward. We have a little bit of a bigger budget because we tried to have some money in there for also maybe doing some like interpretive signs when this is all done, either at the site or possibly down at Seal Cove, I don't know. So we've had a fundraising budget of a little over $320,000. Right now we have $95,000 left to raise to meet that budget. However, we have a $75,000 grant application that is pending that I'm extremely optimistic about. In fact, I checked in about it today and they said, they wouldn't say yes, but they let us start putting through the paperwork through. So I was hoping, I was hoping I would have good news, but I'm really optimistic that's going to be fully funded. You all have another $20,000, I believe, being considered in your budget this year, which, obviously that has a process that it needs to go through, and I think the way this happened last year is if that were approved, I would come to you later and ask for an allocation of some or all that money to the project, but things are looking good. So I'm here to answer questions. I do want to acknowledge that if we include the work at the upper site, which is at the site of the current dam, the dam's not going anywhere. the current plans, and they're available here to look at, leave the dam in place. They also leave the notch that exists in the dam in its same location. It's really then building around that downstream to create this nature-like fishway instead of the concrete ladder that's there. So some of the concrete that's there right now that's not part of the dam, that's part of that ladder, would be removed, not all of it, but then we'd kind of be building around that. It is like a more visible spot, and I would assume that if you're a landowner on Seal Cove Pond, you might have questions about like what's going on there and what's happening with the dam. So my suggestion is that we hold some kind of public information session where I actually bring the engineer in who did the plan so that people can fully understand that. So that would be part of the next process. We'd also have to get permits, including the local permit, because we only permitted the lower site last time. But I'd like to start working on all that and looking for your feedback, questions,
I think it sounds great. I think for all the reasons that you mentioned,
Yeah.
it completely makes sense to do the whole project, at once. That I didn't think budget-wise it would ever happen or anything, but that's phenomenal. Thank you for all your hard work and getting everything put into place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly if we don't get the grant, I'll come back, but I'm
Yeah.
feeling that,
Yeah.
very optimistic right now.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
No, please do, Misha, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, anything that we can do to help, if you need anything, or, just let us know too, or
No,
let
I
Jesse
would work-
know.
I'll continue to work with Jesse and also the code enforcement officer when the time is right in terms of the local permit. The Park Service and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service have been, and Department of Marine Resources, they stocked the pond last year and they plan to do that again, so they've been a really active partner. We actually already have the parks permit to allow for construction, but they didn't wanna have to deal with the bureaucracy twice, so they went ahead and issued the permit for both things, just in case we did wanna do that. So I think a lot of things are lined up, but I'll certainly be back and just talking to people because it is a more visible spot in town. So if people have questions about what's gonna happen there, like please send them my way or Jesse's way, and we can connect them with the engineer if they're very specific questions.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great. Oh, yeah.
I might have some inside information that I do know they have a lease signed from July 16th to September 30th, so that seems like that's the window to work.
Is that for housing?
The contractor?
Yeah.
I know.
For
So,
housing?
I mean, the
For
huge
housing,
issue is
Keith?
just housing, right? And so that's why they're looking to us to be like, are we doing this? Can we do this? And I'm not wanting to get ahead of the funding, but I want to be first in line.
Yeah.
So that's right locally, right.
And they had a lease for last year too, but
They had to back out that, yeah.
they had to eat it pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So again, I don't want to lose them to some other town
Yeah.
right now.
No, it's hard right now to get contractors to do stuff, and especially in that amount of time, and like you said, to find housing, to do everything.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is it gonna take them that long to do it?
Yeah, I mean, right now, a lot of this, it really depends on weather.
Yeah.
So they really have to commit a huge amount of their
Yeah.
work. I mean, this is a contractor that does other work too.
Yeah.
Hardscaping, landscaping, they're
Yeah.
really like rock people.
Yeah.
But during this window, essentially like July 1st to September, sometimes they get extension into October, they're committing a huge
Yeah.
amount of that season to this project.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that long. That's great. No, sign them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
What happens with the beaver dam then?
Continue to pick away at it. It just keeps being rebuilt. The one that's upstream, up a little bit from the dam, is an issue. We had a permit last year to basically notch that dam to allow for, because we don't want to have the fish. The fish can get through the dam usually. I think I saw like 2 dead fish basically caught in the dam. But we've had a permit from IFNW to notch that dam. It ends up working better than trying to actually, if you remove it, they just rebuild it. And we've kind of found, and the town, folks from the town have helped with this, just kind of anytime you're driving by and see that it's plugged up again, we've gone and just pulled a few you might, I've been out there quite a few times dealing there. So the current fishway gets really plugged up, not by the beavers directly, but by the debris from that dam, like washing down. The new fishway that will be built will not be immune from getting plugged up, but it will be less of a problem. There will be sort of multiple ways that the water can move down through the fishway rather than through the one channel, so that will help. But it is a good question of like, in the end, there is some maintenance to this fishway, and it's mostly related to, so I don't know who it's been, Jesse, that's been kind of.
It's been
highway
either
or-
myself or Justin.
Yeah. I didn't know Norm still did that, or whether he could not get down over the,
Wow.
Clausen used to for, yeah.
He and I were way down at the former dance,
Yeah.
like not too long ago. I wasn't sure we were gonna get back out. It's actually easier for him to climb out of there
Yeah.
than I think going down. And I don't think he's actively, I hope he's not going in there and doing
Yeah.
that. But there are a number of residents that are involved with the fish count that we've been hosting and that live in that area, and so they're kind of watching out for it too.
Might be something good to mention in a public hearing.
Yeah.
You know, just say anytime you're out there, pull a few sticks
Yeah, or
out.
get a
Yeah.
call, like
Yeah.
we kind of message each other and
Yeah.
figure out who's gonna be driving by next. Yeah.
Yep.
I make a motion to authorize Maine Coast Heritage Trust to proceed with plans for construction of the Nature Lake fishways at both sites in 2022.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to authorize Maine Coast Heritage Trust to proceed with plans for construction of nature like fishways at both sites in 2022. I'd also like to thank Misha Maitar for all of your work in pulling all this together.
Most definitely.
Yeah. All right, is there any discussion? All those in favor?
I think one of the town things would be kind of nice if we could have some kind of a path that you could move, without risking your life through
Yeah.
there at some point. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't quite know how you do that, but I mean, it might be nice to be able to see what's going on there too. I mean, it's a really pretty gorge. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. It's not crazy to walk down through the stream all the way. I've done that a few times.
Yeah.
I have kind of thought that in the future, if we were gonna have some kind of information that just kind of celebrates the project and that connection between the ocean and the pond and how it all fits together, that doing it down at Seal Cove might
Yeah.
make more sense. I mean, that's
Yeah.
where people can more safely stop and
Yeah.
see something.
Yep.
Isn't it Damerscotters end up doing an LY festival or something? I think, yeah. I mean, it's kind of,
Mm.
And there were fish that came through last year. We, just a few, and they got stuck. But, I was kind of excited for the volunteers to at least see some
Yeah.
fish trying to come up
Yeah.
through last year. So we know that the run is still barely alive.
hopefully stocking is gonna
Yeah.
help bring it back too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Misha.
Okay, next we have the harbor planning grant. Jesse,
Okay.
I'll let you explain
Yep,
that one.
I can explain that.
That's similar to the one that we had before, right? Or the same
Yes,
one?
yep, it's similar, or the same one to the one you used for part of the reconstruction of the wharf
Mhm.
itself. And it's really to pay for the developing of plans. So I know you've all talked about what you may or may not wanna do with the wharf house, and the harbor committee has talked about it. This would be a good option for exploring what that is that you wanna do with it. I explained to the harbor committee that we didn't need plans to apply for the grant, that's what the grant is for, is to develop those plans. So we did, Justin and I placed this on the last harbor committee meeting. They were in favor of, applying for any grants related to redevelopment of the area. So it's not specific to, you don't need to know what you want to do in order to apply for it, but that you wanna do something with the harbor. This year's grants are really aimed at, sustainability as far as like moving out of the flood zone or elevating. So there's the potential that this would be In line with that, if you're moving the harbor master's shack off of the wharf, which is prone to flooding, up, elevating it, we won't know until we get into the planning how far exactly it would need to be to satisfy all the requirements. But it did seem like, I had one of the grant writers locally, I know, look at it, and she thought that what we potentially wanted to do fell in line with what the grant was looking for, this year, so. Just wanting to give you an update and make sure you were okay with applying for any grants related to that.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
Go
so we not
for it.
to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You never know, we might be able to, you know, if it, especially with the elevation difference is gonna be huge, just from moving, doesn't seem it, but
Right.
that would
No, it's
be,
quite a bit.
Yeah. no, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I motion to authorize the town manager to apply for any applicable grants related to the future development of the Wharf House area.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to authorize the town manager to apply for applicable grants related to the future development of the Wharf House area. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Speaking of Wharf House, did you ever, I know there was gonna be some work done to that upper parking lot right there, that one, I
Yep.
don't know what you wanna call it, but Clausen lot maybe
Yep.
kinda area,
Yep.
for a neighbor that needed to access.
Yes, so
Is that
the-
still on or not?
Yeah, the harbor committee has tentatively approved some preliminary plans.
Oh, good.
And once we
Yep.
get the final one, I'll probably put it on one of your agendas. But essentially, the neighbor behind it needs to access his septic, and so he's willing to improve that parking lot after accessing his septic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
So you could actually park in there
Final
Yeah.
details.
without a four-wheel drive.
Nice.
Yeah, you've been
Looks like
talking
it'll
about it
be
anyhow, so it
Yeah.
was,
Cleaned up a little on the edges and kind of extended a little bit towards the front on one side. So.
okay,
Okay.
awesome. All right, next we have the American Rescue Plan COVID Relief Funds. And, this is just basically a recap of what we'd already done here.
Yes, yep,
Okay.
so as you know, one of the uses for the ARPA funds is to provide premium pay to essential employees that were required to work during, the pandemic. They've identified basically March of 2020 to July 1st of 2021 as that period. On the eligible premium pay recipient sheet is a breakdown of the eligible staff and third-party recipients that you could choose to provide the funds to. And just to reiterate, they would have to be provided through the normal payroll system that the town and or these organizations utilize to have all applicable taxes and everything taken out of them. The process for third-party recipients is that the town would present one check for the total amount to the third party with a letter detailing what it's for, what the use is for. And then it's up to that person to use it correctly, and then I would be requesting a letter back stating that they had done so and in what form they had done it. It is ultimately up to the town to make sure it's done correctly, even though we don't have that much control over it. So that's why I'd request the letter back stating for our records what it was used for. So we have the different departments, the town staff, the assessors, the Tremont Volunteer Fire Department, the Southwest Harbor Tremont Ambulance. Those are only staff members responding to Tremont calls during that time period, not their full, maybe their full staff, but they're specifically the ones that responded to Tremont calls. Southwest Harbor Fire Department for members assisting EMTs and or fire calls during that time period in Tremont. and then the school staff, that was employed and working during that period.
I got two questions for Keith. First one is, do you really only have 10 members now?
I think, I see 5 members up there, right? You guys would pitch in.
Yeah.
Well, we have some members that could not respond during that period.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't know if you
Some of
were
them
that
are,
well.
others,
Yeah.
I mean, they were reading theater,
Yeah.
and some of them just opted that.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
understand. I just didn't know what your
And
numbers were. Yeah.
Well, there's a small core group of people that
Mhm.
pull it off, but there is, we've had 4 new members in the last month.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
That's good.
Nice.
And I think they were kind of holding back until the mask mandates were gone out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
no,
good.
so-
No.
And they're good people that are in town all day, so.
Awesome. And the one question I had before was the Southwest Harbor Fire Department assisting the EMTs in Tremont. 23 seemed like a high number to me, but that's probably, I mean, they have quite a good size group of people over there, don't they?
I was very concerned.
They have 30 some, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I try to be conservative about my
Yeah.
numbers, the people that were actively
Yeah.
physically participating.
Mhm.
But yeah, I couldn't speak for them, but
Yeah.
they did come to 2 fire calls during that time,
Mhm.
one being the fire down on Rummel Road and stuff, and I mean, it was a small, usually when they respond, there's 8 to 10 people, but yeah.
Yeah. Good. Sounds good.
That looks good to me.
I'll make a motion to authorize the use of ARPA funds for premium pay to be dispersed as provided on the eligible premium pay sheet dated March 17th, 2022.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the use of the ARPA funds for premium pay to be dispersed as provided on the eligible premium pay sheet dated March 17th, 2022. Is there any discussion? Is that really your hand or not? Yeah, okay, yeah.
I know, that just because I'm related, but I can see some of the people like the ACO, but I also think, I'm not going against the justice side, but a lot of the, winter pile guys, the part-time pile guys, put in a lot of time too. I don't know what you guys feel, but it seems like it could be a couple other people that have those.
What's the grand total? 50?
43,
That is the
90, yeah.
Yeah.
You can add the plow drivers if you want. The only reason they were left off is it stipulates that they have contact with the general public. They may have, but in general, they're just not
Truck themselves.
But it doesn't matter to me.
I didn't even think about the ACO though, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Dog. Do
Yeah.
you know how many calls he had to do on that? I don't. Some?
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's the thing, you have to make sure that you think of everyone, which I know we've all tried, but, just because if someone is left out, then, it's all right. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I can see the animal control officer,
Yeah.
definitely. You know, he said contact with the public.
Yeah, no, I think that would be good.
Yeah. And, you know, again, the drivers. How many are there?
Would it have to have been,
Look and see who's active, but I'd say probably 4 or 5.
I mean, that's pretty direct. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's indirect, but
Why don't we do 250 for the drivers and maybe 500 for the ACO? I mean, I'd be fine with that. I think that's reasonable.
oh, so we're not limited to the 48. We don't have to cut.
No.
no,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering.
so.
We had to make cuts to.
No, I think it'd be good to include them. I think that's a good idea, Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even coming out and meeting up and, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
We're switching through all.
yeah, switching through and, yeah, just to make our road
Occasionally they have
passable for
contact
us,
with
so.
some of the folks in the public too.
Mhm.
I don't think that often, but
Yeah.
Yeah, really, you have to make sure you thank everybody who kept things
Yeah.
going. as
So
normal.
hard,
Yeah,
yeah, it's,
as close to normal as you could.
I don't want to cheap out for $1,200.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can I amend it to add the ACO and part-time
Yep.
plow drivers?
It's a good idea, Keith, thanks.
And then, yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna go home and be like, oh,
Yeah, well, that's the
what
worst part.
about?
You know, you try to include them.
so part-time snowplow drivers, 250 you said, we have one, obviously animal control officer, 250 times what? Not to put you on the spot, we could just table it, wait until next meeting if you want time to get it together.
I should.
I don't think we have on this week's payroll.
I think last year was different.
1, 2. Yeah, I only see 2 on this one. But again, that was,
There's Cooley,
yeah,
Steve,
Steve and
Scotty.
Scott Harper. Yeah.
Yeah, Fogger. Did Adam Lawson last year?
I think it's,
Yeah. Cooley and Gus. Trying to think of how.
Yeah, I don't know.
While you're adding them up, I should, one of your plow truck drivers reported a fire a couple of weeks ago too, which was very helpful. Drove past AC Parsons and saw their greenhouse on fire. Called
Oh,
us.
really?
All right.
Yeah.
He stayed right there until.
Yeah.
Huh.
Good.
That was pretty helpful. I mean, he was out real early in the morning.
Yep.
Even people in the house next door didn't know.
Yes.
six.
6 of them? Okay. Just so we have it, it doesn't have to be total in our motion, but at least we know how many we're voting on.
It's
So
easy,
six.
it's $2,000.
Yeah, 6.
53.90.
250 apiece.
Yeah.
You want a whole new motion, Jesse, or can she
She can amend.
amend it? Okay.
Then I'll amend my motion to add 1 animal control officer at $500 and 6 part-time snowplow drivers at $250 apiece, right?
Yes. And that was seconded by who?
I'll second it.
Okay, fair, second that. Okay. It's been moved and seconded to authorize the use of ARPA funds for premium pay to be dispersed as provided on the eligible premium pay sheet dated March 17, 2022, as amended. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Yeah, thanks Keith for that. That's hard to think of everybody, you know. All right, next we have the FY '23 budget prep. We have Wharf, Harbor, and Seal Cove.
So, in the wharf, there's not really any significant changes in the revenues. And under expenses. Just the regular 5.9% increases, you'll see the, trash disposal we previously talked about, reducing the roll-off, down to an additional second dumpster. Has dropped that, down 68% over last year's budget, 79% over this year's estimate. And the transfer to capital reserves, $5,000 for this year. So total expenditures is $69,000. major thing I've changed. Any questions on it? Otherwise, harbor, again, our revenues, no real significant changes there. And under expenses, just the routine, cost of living increases. There's a big decrease in the other line. That was, last year was budgeted $6,000, so that was for the purchase of the boat trailer, which was purchased. And so that, line reverts back to its usual, just $1, to hold it for accounting. So that's a reduction there. So total expenses for the harbor are estimated at $28,003, down 12% from the budget from FY22. And in Seal Cove, again, nothing significant in revenues or changes or in expenses. Did you see, under other insurance, that $2,000 estimated this year and budgeted next year, was for the insurance on the floats themselves that was added, at the suggestion of the insurance company. Summer. So that's not budgeted previously.
$2,000 insurance for floods.
Yeah.
Seems a bit pricey.
Yeah, it was one of those things that I think, at the time when they reached out to Chris about it, he was under the impression that they were covered, by our usual insurance, so we checked with MMA and they said, in fact, people were not covered by regular insurance. They needed their own insurance.
What the hell are they insured for? They're galvanized floats, or aluminum, aren't they, whatever?
They're steel, galvanized.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean,
They're
it's
pretty
pretty hard to damage one of those.
You're gonna stay your boat up, I'm done.
I believe, I'd have to check, but I think it also covers if they damage
Oh,
Okay.
a boat.
Yeah, if one breaks loose in the harbor, I can
Right.
see that doing some damage.
Yeah.
Not that I know anything about a steel thing floating.
You need to find some wood and not,
Yeah, you do.
It's gone. It's
Oh, is it
sold.
gone?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I don't know that anymore.
Total expenses for Seal Cove is $4169.
I don't see anything at all. There's no major changes whatsoever. Looks good.
Looks good, Jesse.
Yep.
You want a separate motion for each section?
Yeah, just the expense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll start with Seal Cove since it's right. Actually,
Let me get there so I can make sure if you're gonna go backwards.
well, let me start at the
that's fine.
beginning.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
all right. I'm already there.
Okay, well, I was just trying to find the,
Backwards.
so that was at 4169, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay, I make a motion to tentatively accept the Seal Cove budget for the total expenditures of $4,169.
Second.
It's the biggest
Where did you
challenge.
see the 4169?
It's one page back. They always-
Oh, yeah, okay.
They always hide them with us. You
Yeah,
gotta-
no, I know, because it's on the.
3 pages of numbers, you gotta find the
I
right one.
had a 4108,
No,
is
I'm
what
not.
I had on this, so I was.
I've been doing this for years, but you still baffle me.
Yeah. All right, it is, been moved and seconded to tentatively accept the Seal Cove budget for total expenditures of $4,169 in the FY '22 budget. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right.
And 2,000 of that's insurance for those floats.
Yeah.
Wow. I make a motion to approve the harbor fund. Where the hell? budget for total expenses of 8277. Oh, that's revenue, isn't it? Yeah, I did it again.
2803.
For,
What do you want, harbor fund, you said?
yeah, 28,000.
28,003.
Okay, $28,003.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to tentatively accept the harbor fund
Oh, that's right.
budget for a total expenditure amount of $28,003 in the FY '22 budget. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Let me read the heading on the page.
I know, it is, I agree, when you end, it's hard to see which one it
Yeah.
is.
Okay, see if I can get this one right. I'll make a motion to tentatively accept the wharf, or the, let's see, that's the wrong page too.
I know, I think I had duplicates in here of one. That's
Yeah, I
why
think I
got
might have.
thrown off.
Okay, the wharf is 69,896.
Yep.
Yeah. The wharf fund for a total budget expenditures of $68,896 in fiscal year 22.
69.
23. Wrong line.
You just said
That
68.
one, 69,896.
Yeah, that's right.
Did he say a number off?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
did I?
Yeah.
Okay. That's right, 69,896.
Second.
Need reading glasses.
It's been moved and seconded to
Okay,
tentatively
I'm done
accept
motions.
wharf fund budget for the total expenditure of $69,896 in the FY '22 budget. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? All right. Is that it? I think that's it on that one.
Okay, my offer, shouldn't we be doing fiscal year 23?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was
I'm looking at this, reading it, it doesn't look right to me.
I just thought of that one, yeah.
That's why I thought you'd have to be wrong on the year,
Yeah. So, what's your?
23. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well,
I think we've been saying
amend
22,
20
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
we
that's the way
have.
the note was there, that's why I was,
Yeah.
I don't think it was that far.
All right, next we have the FY '23 budget, and is this consideration for a final?
Yeah.
Is that what you're, because I know
Because you're
that,
just doing, yeah, because you're just doing municipal tonight. Because
okay,
you've already technically done this one.
yeah, because I know Keith is also on board with me for the school, and there might be some changes to the school one that, or might be presented before us for a change, but also Keith, on a side note, someone might have put us on to an idea of, Lemoyne has a portable classroom they're trying to get rid of, so I think phone calls are being made to maybe that will help the situation some. Things are a little cramped down at I was on the board, you remember, for adding on to the school, and it seems like that it's gonna take so long to get there, just as kind of an update, that there's gonna need to be something to help in the meantime. What it is, I don't know, but basically, everyone wants to lease them now, no one wants to sell a portable classroom. And the lease rates are crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah, it makes sense, if there's one available.
Yeah,
So, yeah, the school maybe, they're having an emergency school board meeting Wednesday night. They may change their budget. If they do, they'll get that on Thursday. So it will be on Monday's agenda to look at that again if they're going to change it. It would change the overall tax rate, but your motions tonight, if you make them, is just for the municipal.
yeah, well, hopefully that works out,
Yeah.
the Lemoyne thing, and then that would be huge for
Yeah.
them.
Is that the budget change, what it's all about, just the
Yeah,
additional
just,
classroom?
Yeah, yeah.
I think, I mean, they're having a special meeting, but I think they're gonna maybe tweak some of their other numbers that were presented before, to make you know, to put money in different areas, different spots, because it just, I think there's an instant need for more classroom space, period. So,
Yeah.
and how it happens, I don't know, but that's what has been talked about. All right, so we have the FY '23 budget, and
Yes, so, after your last meeting, I went ahead and, dispersed the $29,132 difference between FY '23 and FY '22's across the fuel, accounts in the budget, so that, currently results in the FY '23 municipal budget being the same as the FY '22 municipal budget, no increase, no decrease, for that, which results in the blended tax rate increase of 3.4% when you calculate in the current 2.6 for Tremont School, 10.3% for the high school, and 5.5% for the county assessment. That will raise taxes by $95 on a property assessed at $250,000.
and that's not us.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
schools.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify, yeah.
So the municipal budget itself does not change
Yeah, zero increase.
property taxes.
Yep.
Correct.
Good job, Jesse.
Yeah.
I think it looks good. I don't see any issues with it at all. I mean, you can't get much better than no increase, I don't think.
Zero, right? Yeah, we like that.
Yeah. Okay, we need a motion.
Oh, what the hell. Might as well screw up another one. I make a motion.
23, Kevin, just so you know. Yeah,
I
okay, just
already
so- yeah.
corrected that one. So you get kind of
Yeah,
rambling
no,
and just read
actually,
it.
I can actually see the typo
Actually,
in it.
no,
Yeah.
it is 22, because it's 2022 town meeting.
Town
Oh,
meeting.
annual town meeting, yes, you're right on that one, yeah.
The '23 budget.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
there you go.
You guys are confusing me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, fiscal year.
Yeah, I guess. I make a motion to request the following amounts and the cost centers listed in the 2022 annual town meeting warrant for the 2023 budget. Administration's $722,141, protections $374,886, debt service $97,296, recreation $21,275, public works $432,639, general assistance $1,000, committees $51,310, donation to nonprofit organizations $26,600, solid waste $280,168, contingency $14,573, transfers to reserves $379,439, transfer to library fund $61,274, and other reserves other revenues $1,137,241.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to request the, can I say the amounts read by Kevin?
Oh, yeah.
On the 2022 annual town meeting warrant
don't need to
for the FY '23 budget.
There you go.
Yeah. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Yeah. Thanks again, Jesse, because that.
Yeah, that was painful.
Come out, that.
Starts blurring after a while
No
too.
increase, that's good. Real good.
That one you get down after a while anyway.
All right, now we have town manager's report.
All right, last week I worked on making those changes to the FY '23 budget, working on the premium pay sheet, financial reports, meeting preparations, finished my annual report letters. finished some paperwork, for the Community Resilience Partnership Grant and sent the Board of Appeals, notice to the paper. Office staff, the clerk's been busy with ballot verification for town meeting election, answering questions about tax required property sale, and regular day-to-day business at the town office. Public Works projects, they put up a private road sign replacement, Clean Truck 7, helped Harbor Master with, floats, sanded and painted summer rims on Truck 3, 1,000-hour service was performed on a case by Beauregard, redo, flat iron posted road signs, people are taking them down. Summer rims on Truck 9 were sanded and painted. Replaced 6 stop signs around town. Redid posted road signs on Rummel Road and Dix Point Road. They got taken down, and patching potholes on Flatiron and Bernard Road. Harbor Master was busy hauling and washing the boat ramp floats. Picked up repair parts for the Seal Cove floats. Worked on POs and met with residents about permits for launching boats and moorings. Got some GFCI outlets for repairs at the ramp. Cleaned up all the winter trash around the property. Assisted a foreign flag vessel coming into the harbor on Friday. And over the next week, I'm hoping to attend the League of Towns meeting, and I have a MMA managers interchange conference in Bangor on Friday, and finish work on the draft warrant for the town meeting.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. Those posted road signs too, why, I know it's a lot of work to go over, to keep putting them back up. Why are people pulling them down? Because they know that the roads are posted either way, like,
Who's working up there?
are you sure it's not, weather? It's not.
I don't know. First he said, he sent me a message that said he was replacing stop signs and posted road signs. And he
Yeah.
said, why can't people leave things alone?
Yeah.
And I said, what happened to them?
Cause
Why are people stealing stop signs? No, the stop signs were just weather and
Yeah.
bent or whatever.
Cause I saw the
Post
one
road.
on the Bass Harbor side of the Flatiron Road was half peeled off during one of those wind and rain,
Yeah.
so that one I think, could go, but I'm just surprised that people are pulling off the other ones.
I don't know.
Doesn't make the road legal.
No, I know, that's what I mean, it doesn't
change
make, it
anything.
doesn't change anything, yeah, it's not there, but it's still illegal to drive on. Okay. Alright, suggestions for the next meeting? Okay, date of the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to confirm the date of the next meeting for Monday, March 28th, 2022 at 5 p.m. at the town office.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to confirm the date of the next meeting for Monday, March 28th, 2022, 5 p.m. at the town office. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?